What's up, guys? So I want to talk about this piece of gear. Now, this is the OneTigris Northgaze CANVAS tent. This thing has been set up here now. This is the third day, and I've been hanging out in it pretty much all throughout the day and into the evening. This is a really good piece of gear, and you just never know when you buy something. I'm really impressed, so I'm gonna kind of do a little video on it because it's that good and it's fun. It snowed last night, so it's super pretty, but I'm gonna take you guys inside, kind of show you the tent. I got the wide angle on, obviously. So this is a small tent. It says it's a 1 to 2 person, and that is exactly what it is. But when you do things either sitting down like this or on your knees, it's perfectly adequate. I'm 6'1". I could stand up right in the center here, but with this pole here and the stove, it's just not super practical. But there are 2 doors. There's one here and then one there, and that whole flap rises up for better weather. You could stake it out and have kind of an awning. This thing is completely waterproof. It snowed, it rained, and it's completely dry in here. Now, this does not have a floor in it, so I just have this orange emergency poncho thing from Walmart. It was like $10, but it has grommets in the corner of it where you could make an emergency tarp or something like that. And then just a moving blanket from Harbor Freight underneath it. That's what I had there first. So that just keeps me off the ground a little bit. But I'm gonna get a fire going in here. There's actually still coals from when I was out here last night. So we'll get the fire going and show you guys around a little bit. These little matches are pretty good. Just take them with me when I'm on the canoe or whatever. They burn very vigorously. And then these little tinder blocks. This stuff from Walmart or whatever. Now, one of my favorite things is the pocket bellows. I generally take that with me wherever I go. It just keeps the smoke out of my face and gets you away from the fire when you're trying to get it going. So I'm not going to blow it out yet just because it's just starting, but a very good tool that I like. No one likes smoke in their eyes. All right, so this is where I'm going to use my pocket bellows. The fire has not quite taken off yet on some of the pieces I threw in there. So instead of smoking out the entire tent here, we are just going to, oh, there it goes, but we're gonna help it. So I'm not even gonna open the door. I'm just going to point this in the bottom. And that's pretty darn good. So it's a big tube that collapses in itself. Your mouth goes on the big end, and it restricts it down to the small end, which increases the velocity and keeps you away. So one thing about this tent is it gets warm very quickly. I'm super impressed with how it retains the heat, but with how quickly it does get warm. You know, you got to feed this small wood stove pretty much constantly or so, but once it's warm and you cut the correct size pieces to pretty much fill the firebox, I mean, you could be in here for an hour or more without feeding it, and you could turn it down. Now, one thing I did do just to help heat this more evenly is I got a cheap battery powered fan from Amazon that actually has lights, LED lights built in, rechargeable fan, and I put it at the top of the pole. It just has those like octopus bendy legs that can pretty much contour to anything. So you can flip it around, turn Turn it on. That's timer. That will be your light, low, medium, high. Slide it up in place, and that seems to work really good. So the fan has a battery life of like 60 hours, it said, so that should last for anything I'm going to do on a couple night camping trip at most. Most things will just be a weekend overnight trip. So the light and the fan to recirculate things just makes this way more comfortable. It helps with the cold drafts around the outside. This does have a snow skirt, not 360, like 300. There's 2 doors here, and why they didn't put extra material to keep drafts from coming in, I don't know. It would have taken that much more effort and made the tent way better. What I did was just put a moving blanket from Harbor Freight right there, just one of the small $5 ones, kind of block off the cold air coming in. But if you orient your tent with the prevailing wind, you know, coming towards the back of the tent first, the front isn't getting a ton, but every bit helps to block that. But I mean, this thing puts out so much heat, it doesn't really matter. Now, if you are laying on the floor, which I'm sitting here on the floor on the orange survival blanket, you know, you can feel the cold. But if you had a cot to get you off the ground, it'd be perfect. For going down the river in my canoe, honestly, this is a pretty small size. I'm super impressed. It only weighs like 9 pounds or so. I looked at another tent and it was like 52 pounds, but also double the price and more. So this is a great alternative. It's very well built. The material's fantastic. If they made a bigger version with this tech canvas, I would definitely buy it and even have both of these, just for different situations. So for the footprint for the stove, I just have 2 flooring tiles from like Home Depot. I'm just at my house right now in my backyard. These will not come with me when I go canoeing just because they are heavy. I did order a fireproof blanket. It's like 24 by 20 or something that folds up, so that should be able to sit under here and protect the grass, because this does get pretty hot underneath when it gets going. That heat just radiates. So obviously without a bottom in the tent, we don't want to catch anything on fire. So that will replace these heavy tiles. But really it does good. The stove jack is a pretty big hole. I think it's like 5 inches, where the pipe's only like 2.5 or something. But it's really not a big deal. If it's snowing or rain's coming in, it's going to hit that hot pipe or the hot stove and just evaporate it. What a great little tent. So you got stakes on every corner there, and then you got guy lines to pull the fabric out tight, give you some more interior space there. So this is the front where the 2 doors are, and this is what becomes the flap. For some reason, they just didn't add that little bit of extra fabric, and it would have made this a lot better. Also, on the inside, there are no fabric loops or anything, and it could have been a lot better if you had places to, I don't know, hang anything, and there's just nothing. I bought some of the webbing loop, and I was hoping to put, you know, a carabiner or something across so you could hang a coat or a raincoat or a shirt or whatever to dry it out if you're out in the woods and you get wet. Well, there's just nothing inside to hang anything on other than the very top where the pole goes in. There's a tiny little loop if you could manage to get something in that ring, but I'm pretty sure it would have to be done prior to setting the tent up because it's so narrow and so high up. But you know, it's a very, very good tent for like less than $300. So I would definitely buy that again. And I'm interested in a bigger version of the same material if they have one. So thanks for watching, guys. We will see you on the next one.